So this morning, we are talking about recognizing wholeness. Recognizing wholeness. Knowing wholeness again. Because if we were just talking about spotting wholeness, we would call it that. Seeing wholeness. I can see with my eyes and never recognize what I'm looking at. Maybe it's just me that does that periodically throughout the day, every day. Maybe it's just me. Seeing the good in all. Now notice, that doesn't say the good in all people. It says the good in all. Which, at least in terms of the language that we've agreed to use, is pretty all-inclusive. All kind of leaves nothing out. So all of those things that you think have no redemptive value, that have no good to be seen in them, that's your work. You're welcome. Seeing the good in all. Now let's be clear. That is harder than we admit in this human realm. And yet in the spiritual realm, it's effortless. And here's the difference. The spiritual realm doesn't have any volumes of Shouldapedia. The spiritual library has no ShouldaPedias. In the human experience, that's our book of reference. Right? Let's be real this morning. Our reference book for how we should show up. We go to our internal library and scan through our reference library of Shoulapedias until we find the one that will tell us how to behave. Eugene will be all right in a little while. He's processing a new concept. So here's the thing. Just like Rebecca's spiritual practice that she led us in talked about our hands imprison us. Ernest Holmes taught the thought that will set you free is the very thought that imprisons you. Because it's just the activity of thought. We are all miraculously one thought away from complete freedom. This planet is one thought away from complete peace and freedom. Our challenge is we get stuck in trying to get rid of thoughts. Right? Good luck with that. Because you cannot simultaneously think about a thing and rid yourself of it. If I tell you not to think about pink elephants, now you are. You're welcome. If I put it in a song, it'll be an earworm for you. And then I will get nasty emails. So what do we do instead? We do what we teach. We change our thinking. What's true? And if we don't know what's true, herein lies the gap. Right? Because if I stop thinking the lie, and I don't have anything to fill in, we're like perpetual 2-year-olds. Right? You tell your 2-year-old to stop doing something, and then you walk away. And what do? Right back to it. Because you didn't give them something else to do. Redirect. And so it's insufficient to tell yourself, stop thinking about that. First of all, it doesn't work because now you're focused on what you're stopping.
Come on.
I had a practitioner session with a ministerial colleague years ago. And what came out of my mouth was, I'm just sick of all these thoughts. I just wish I could forget everything. Now she heard what I'm saying, which is a good thing, and she looked at me and she said, is it your intention to manifest Alzheimer's or dementia? No. She's like, well, that's how you get to not remember anything. So what do you really want? And what I really wanted was to not attach pain to all the memories. What I really wanted was to remember whatever I remember without the guilt, shame, blame, and remorse attached. What I really wanted was to have the full access to my memory within the context that I am whole, perfect, and complete, and so is everybody else involved in any of those memories. That every situation that felt horrific was whole, perfect, and complete. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. And so I got to wrestle with being victimized by perpetrators as a child at many levels, as accepting that was whole, perfect, and complete in their evolution and in my evolution. Notice, I didn't say understand. The human part, and that's where I set myself up. I kept trying to understand the incomprehensible. I don't understand what makes another human being choose to abuse. I don't understand that. But if I fail to recognize that that capacity lives within me because it lives within humanity, I am intentionally lying to myself and separating myself from myself, which then gives me permission to remove myself from the healing activity of consciousness. Because what is alive in consciousness is what we heal. I have never healed another person. Neither did Jesus. And he said that. He said it over and over again. No matter how many times people were like, you healed me. Jesus was like, no, you confused. You are confused. It is your faith that healed you. And so literally, if I believed that sitting in that particular chair for 13.4 seconds would heal every physical thing in my body, I would do it, and it would. And it would have nothing to do with the chair, nothing to do with the time frame, and everything to do with how I set it up. What we have is this miracle of choice. And law operates to manifest that. And most of the time, because we're in these human experiences, most of us are cognitively unaware of what's operating underneath our thought. We think our thought is this. And so we expect this to manifest. I remember an Oprah Winfrey show where she was talking about abundance. And this audience member challenged her that, you know, you keep talking about all this abundance stuff and I keep praying for money and it keeps not happening. And what Oprah said was, why do you want money? And he said, because I don't have any. And she said, and you will never have any as long as you believe that. See, he's asking for money, but what he's believing is, I don't have money. And so the activity of law goes, check, you don't have money. And so every possible avenue of influx of money goes unseen, unrecognized. Ernest Holmes teaches this in the Science of Mind book. It is not true that you can have everything you want. He says that. Because a lot of times you hear us talk about these teachings, you can have anything you want. No, you can't. Because oftentimes what you want and what you believe are not in the same neighborhood. They're not even on the same planetary realm. What we get is the consciousness, what we have the consciousness to create. That's what we get. Not what we want, not what we should have, what we have the consciousness to create. And so if I don't have a consciousness of wholeness, it's entirely likely I will never experience wholeness. I would bet everything I have in this physical realm on it. Because if I don't have at least an idea of wholeness, and wholeness means there's nothing missing. Wholeness means there's nothing that needs to be removed. That everybody is part of the whole. I'm not there. Let's tell the truth. I'm not there. I see things every day that I think need to be removed. I watch the news, and there's a lot that my humanness thinks is wrong. We're blowing up children. I don't know how in my human self to reconcile that. I don't. Now I know I'm the spiritual leader and I'm supposed to have all the answers. I don't. Let that lie go. I don't have all the answers. What I have is a willingness to question everything. And so I do my spiritual practice. How? How is this a part of wholeness? How do I embrace this? How do I recognize? How do I recognize this as part of wholeness? And what comes back to me over and over again is the power of choice. It's the power of choice. And how deeply entrenched I am in wanting to control other people's choices, but don't you dare imagine controlling mine. It is this huge double standard that I wrestle with every day. Because you come near my power of choice, it's on. And yet, somehow I rationalize the right to be up in your business and what you choose. Doesn't work that way. Even what created us. And this is the part that boggles my mind the most, people. Creation itself empowered its creation with the freedom of choice. Not just the power of choice, but the freedom of choice. And a freedom which is free of any guilt, shame, blame, or wrongness. A freedom that simply says yes, no matter what we choose. That never rejects its creation. That never pulls away because we made a choice that it disagrees with. And if my job is to embody that, I got work to do. I got work to do. How about you? You know? And how about we do it together? Right? That we pick up the phone in those moments where and maybe I'm the only one that has these, where every once in a while I need to put God outside of me. So hello, God, do you have a supervisor I can speak with? Because really, dude, things are messed up down here. Are you paying attention at all? I need to have those conversations sometimes. And what if we reached out to one another and said, I need some brainwashing right now because I got some garbage thoughts. I need some help. I need somebody just to witness me. I need somebody to just listen so I can spew all this stuff out. I'm not asking you to fix me. I'm asking you to witness me. I'm asking you to hold me. And how many times that will result in you finding out that you're in a community of people who, oddly enough, are struggling with the same stuff. And now we've recognized the wholeness of the journey in one another. Now we've recognized the wholeness of the struggle with one another. That we give permission to grapple with this stuff with one another. That we let go of the idea that any one community member has to show up a certain way. Just show up. Just show up. And allow yourself to truly be seen. Allow the goodness of you to be seen, but first you have to see it. You have to see that in the mirror. When you look yourself in the mirror for this next week, I invite you all to set this intention. That you look yourself eye to eye. Whether it's in a shopping store window when you pass it, whether it's in your bathroom mirror, but every time you have an opportunity to observe yourself, pause and just say, hello, God. You are amazing. Because that is who you be. And if you will take the time to recognize that in you, you open the door to see it in somebody else. Let's take this into prayer. That is the breath of the infinite. The one, the only, the ever-present, the unformed, the formed. Source, substance, activity. All manifesting itself as itself in the multiplicity of creation. No two elements alike. And yet, in all the differences, no separation. This is the truth of being. This is the magnificence of the whole. That every element, every aspect, every operation is within and a part of this one. I know that it creates out of itself, by itself, to be itself, so I must be that. Being here, created in form. And I know what is true of me is true of all life. All life. From the tiniest grain of sand to the most majestic mountain, to everything that crawls and moves upon it and around it and within it. All is this one infiniteness expressing its wholeness in multiplicity. And so I speak my word, claiming and affirming that we collectively, individualized collectively, are waking up. We are knowing again. We are recognizing the truth of being. That there is no my being, there is no someone else's being. There is just being. And we are all within it as it. And so I celebrate. I celebrate because I know the word spoken is the word fulfilled. And so I know that it has already happened. And we are simply along for the ride of its unfolding. That it is done. And I don't need to see the timeline. I don't need to see the form. I just need to know that I know because I know it is done. And to trust that. And so I choose, I consciously choose to trust. And in so doing, I let go. I let go of any need to control, any need to question, any need to sort it out. And so I just buckle in for the ride and go where it goes and do what I am called to do. And I invite you, if any of this has resonated with you, that you take it, that you choose it as your own, and say with me, and so it is.